I am Michael Santos with Earning Freedom and Prison Professor. I'm so excited today because I get the privilege of introducing you to my friend, Israel Torres. Israel is a real mastermind, and when you hear his story, you will know why I say that. He is an individual who was serving, how long were you serving, Israel?
Life sentence.
He was serving a life sentence, but today he is out here in society as a law-abiding, contributing citizen, making things happen. I'm so grateful to him for sharing his story with us. Israel, why don't you start a little bit telling us about what brought you into prison with a life sentence?
Well, back in '98, there was a drug conspiracy around the Dallas area. It was in the suburbs of Dallas. There was 36 of us involved. 12 of us went to trial. 3 of us got life sentences. The rest got like 10 years, 12 years, 20 years, 24 years. Everybody's out except for 2 of my co-defendants. One of them still has a life sentence, and the other one has, he has about 3 or 4 more years to go. And it all started around, I mean, our conspiracy, they said it started in '92 and it ended in '98, which in March 16th is the day that everybody got picked up. We was dealing in cocaine, crack cocaine, methamphetamines, and marijuana. That's everything that they put in the indictment. I mean, of course, they put amounts, but the amounts that they came up with is far beyond me. How they came up with them numbers, I don't know. But 12 of us went to trial. 3 of us got life sentences, and they sent us off to prison. And I mean, the first, well, when they took me to sentencing, they gave me they didn't have enough evidence to give me a life sentence. So the judge postponed my sentencing date for another 2 months. And
wait a second. Did you know you were facing a life sentence when you were going through trial?
Yes, that's what they were telling me. My lawyer was telling me, and other lawyers that was representing different of my co-defendants, other co-defendants of mine, they was telling me that, what are you doing? Why are you going to trial? You're going to get a life sentence. And I was stubborn at the time. I was young. I was 21 years old. So I mean, all the experience that I had going through the state, I was always buying my way out the state and had my lawyer always postpone my cases, and I was beating my cases or just getting probation for them. So me not knowing the federal system, I felt like I could do the same thing in the feds. But once
let's stop there. Let's go a little slower there. You said that you were in the state system a couple of times. Tell us about when you were serving time in the state. What kind of mindset did you have when you went into the prison system as a young man?
No, I never went into the state prison. I just got probation because I was, like I said, I was always buying my way out of the state and going to prison.
What do you mean for buying your way out? How do you buy your way out?
I was paying my lawyer, so he was always postponing my court dates and just bought me time to stay out of prison. And I was just getting probation on different cases that I had until March 16th of '98 is when the feds rounded everybody up and took us to a county close here to Dallas. And,
did you have a mindset when you were going through that system that you wanted to change your life, or at that time you were just young and didn't really care that much?
I mean, I had kids, you know, and not saying that I couldn't get a job, but I mean, because I used to work with my dad at a molding plant, and but I mean, I quit there, and I mean, everybody in the neighborhood was selling drugs, and I mean, the friends that I was hanging around with, I mean, so that was like really just like the cool thing to do at the time. So I mean, everybody's driving nice cars, everybody got money, they got jewelry, they got girls. So I mean, when you see that, you want to be a part of it. I mean, because you feel like you're left out because you ain't doing the same thing everybody else is doing, which is a kid's mind frame. That's what a kid wants is I mean, it's just like these videos. And I mean, they see all the fancy cars, all the jewelry, all the girls. And I mean, that's what people want. So at the time, I mean, I was young. I was at that time I was probably like 17 years old, 18 years old, and I wanted the same thing. So I started selling drugs.
Understood. Tell us about, you go to trial, you end up getting a life sentence. Tell us what it was like going into the system. What was your mind frame when you went into the Bureau of Prisons with a life sentence?
That's a question that everybody used to ask me when I was in prison. Like, when I got a life sentence, I was standing in front of the judge, and the judge told me, he's like, hopefully with this, other young individuals your age will think about what they're doing before they do it. And I mean, really, he was just using me as an example to get the message out to the younger kids to don't trade in drugs. But he sat there and he told me that, and then he told me he said, I sentence you to life in federal prison. And I mean, it really, at that time, it really didn't hit me. It didn't faze me at the time. Why? Because as soon as he said that, I mean, my family was in the courtroom. They was all in the back, and I just heard them all start crying. So I felt that I had to be strong for them. I didn't want them to see me break down and feel like, dang, he's going to prison. How is it going to be for him? You know, so I just had to show them that I was strong for them, because I didn't want them to be worried about me, even though I just received a life sentence, you know. And I turned around and I looked at him and I told him, I said, man, I said, don't cry. I said, I'll be out one day. And I mean, I was young, and I mean, you know, at the time I was young, and I still really didn't even care. But once I got into the system, time went on. My brother passed away, which is like 2 years after I was locked up. That's when it really hit me and made me understand, like, I can't be putting my mom and my dad through any more pain. I mean,
those 2 years before your brother passed away, those 2 years, what was your adjustment like in prison? Were you getting involved in problems, or were you trying to stay out of problems?
Yeah, I at the beginning, when I first got in there, I didn't care. I was fresh off the streets. I was a hothead. I mean, it didn't really matter to me whatever happened. And I mean, I was always bumping heads with the COs because I was young, and I had a life sentence. I mean, like, I didn't really care at the time. Like I said, until after my brother passed away, that's when I realized, like, I can't be putting my mom and my dad through any more pain, because I'm in there with the life sentence. My brother just passed away. But at the beginning, yeah, I didn't care. I mean, I felt like I was still in the world, like it was still going fast, you know? So I didn't care. Not that I looked for problems, but I really didn't take too much from anybody, you know? I mean, if they try to tell me something fly, I would get fly back with them. I wouldn't stand down to nobody. But
and so tell us what happened after those couple of years. What kind of changes did you make in your adjustment inside?
After those couple of years?
Yeah, when you said after your brother passed away and you started thinking and you had this change of heart, tell us a little bit about what you did.
Okay. Well, after my brother passed away, like I said, I didn't want to put my mom and my dad through any more pain and heartache. So, I mean, I sat back, I prayed. I asked the man above just to guide me and to keep me safe and to keep my family safe and strong. And I enrolled in a couple of classes, heating and air conditioning, carpentry, cabinet making, a whole bunch of different classes, entrepreneurship, CDL, truck driving class. I just started programming and making my time useful instead of not doing nothing, you know? I mean, because I always felt one day I was going to be out. Even though I had a life sentence, I always felt like, man, I ain't going to be in here forever. I can't. Well, I mean, I was just out there selling drugs. I didn't kill nobody. I didn't kill no cop. I I didn't kill nobody. So, I mean, I felt like, really, I'm just really going to sit in here for the rest of my life for drugs. I really just didn't believe it.
Did you ever lose hope along the way?
I mean, there was times that I questioned it, but I never lost hope because, like I said, I mean, me having a life sentence, it never really fazed me until 10 years later when I was sitting in the law library with this Puerto Rican guy. And, I mean, I talk to him like all the time. We go to the law library and just sit in there. And one day he brought it to my attention. He was a little older than me. He's like, man, easy. He said, look at all these old guys walking around with canes. He said, that's going to be me one day. I said, not just you. I said, me too. I said, if we don't get out of here. He said, man, he said, yep. That's when I started realizing, like, I ain't never going to get out. This is my life. This is what I'm going to do for the rest of my life. I'm going to go home in a box, you know. But since that day, too, it gave me more of a push to fight, you know. And I mean, and the man above, he didn't let me give up. He pushed me, and I mean, along the way, I never gave up hope or faith. I just kept that in mind the whole way down.
You said that you participated in a lot of programs. What about after you changed your mindset that you were going to try and, prove worthy of the support you were getting from your mom and dad and not try to break their heart? What kind of effort did you make to avoid disciplinary problems and problems in prison?
I didn't stay to myself. I mean, when you're in prison, of course, you got different groups that people try to tell you that you got to be with or whatever. I mean, and me being from the area, from the Texas area or Dallas area, I mean, there's different groups, and I didn't get in no gangs. I didn't join nobody. I just, they, at the time, they used to call me to the lieutenant's office when stuff would happen because they knew that I was of influence to certain people because of how much time I had and how long I've been there. So they would call me and ask me questions. I'd be like, I'm not going to come over here without somebody else because I don't want them to think I'm telling y'all something that, I mean, they probably think y'all really putting my life in danger by just calling me up here. So I started taking somebody with me, and then after a while, I just told them, look, don't even call me down here no more. I don't even know why y'all calling me. So, I mean, of course, there's different things that happen. There's riots that almost occurred, and I mean, everybody goes outside, and I mean, me and this other guy that was in there. I mean, it was a politic thing, you know. Everybody's politicking, all the inmates politicking, and it came down to, okay, this is what we're going to do. Like, there was fixing to be a riot. But after me and this other guy went around putting sense into everybody's head and trying to broaden their view of what possibly could happen, everybody changed their mind. And there was a majority like, okay, well, we're not going to do this no more. This is what we're going to do. So the CO seen that, and I mean, I think that's why they always called me down to the lieutenant's office, because they knew that I had a part in, like, calling this whole riot off, you know. So, but after a while, I just told them, man, don't call me down here no more. I don't want nothing to do with this. Let me do my time. I'm doing my time. I'm not worried about, I mean, of course, I worry about if certain people get hurt or whatever, because, I mean, when you're in prison, you tend to get close to certain people, and, I mean, you don't want to see nothing happen to them. So, but I just distanced myself from everybody. Of course, I still talk to people, but that's what I had to do to keep my mind focused and to stay on that path of not getting in trouble, you know. So I just changed my whole mind frame of hanging around certain people and doing certain things that I mean, I never did anything, because, I mean, after I got in prison, I went to the whole, like, after a year and a half, I was there for investigation. and after I got out the shoe, I was like, man, that ain't no place for me. Hey,
So what I hear from you, Israel, I try to get this information so I could share it with other guys who are in prison. Let them know to, number one, keep hope. Number two, live for something positive. Number three, focus on programming, which you did. Number four is try to stay away from disciplinary problems and things that can make your life worse in there.
right.
And number five, if you contribute to the better of a community, it works out. Tell our audience now how that strategy of adjusting inside, how that worked out for you, because you started with a life sentence. How did you end up using that adjustment to get you ready to come back to society?
Really, it's everything that I did in there. It's I mean, like I said, I try not to have a mind frame of being incarcerated. I basically try to keep my mind free and kept in mind that one day I was still going to be out. So my mind wasn't like always stuck inside prison. And I mean, even though I did as much time and me having as much time as I had, I try not to get accustomed too much to being in prison, because I knew if I did that, then that was going to be my mind frame. So I just.
And how did you get out?
How did I get out? It's amazing.
Yeah.
I mean, first of all, it all goes to the man above. I mean, he had a lot to do with it. Second, Obama.
Tell us what happened. Tell us when it started and what you did.
In 2012, there's a petition, application. It's called a clemency petition. It's a questionnaire. It asks you different questions. You can get it in the law library, or you can probably get it from your counselor now. And it's just a questionnaire that you got to fill out. It asks you different questions. And in 2012, like around June of 2012 is when I filled out the application. And I had this application since like 2002. This guy from Louisiana, he gave me this application. And he's like, he had asked me, he's like, have you ever heard of one of these? I was like, no. I said, what is it? He said, it's a clemency application. He said, all you ask is for a reduction of time. He said, don't ask to throw your whole case out. He said, just ask for a reduction of time. So I looked at the application. I'm like, and at the time, I'm like, man, if I send this application in, I'm not going to get out. So I got it and I just put it in my paperwork. And I had it in my paperwork this whole time. And I would take it out every once in a while and I would look at it and I'd be like, I mean, all the questions it would ask me, like my prior convictions, it ask you from your tickets to prior history or whatever you had on your jacket. So I was like, I ain't gonna be able to get all. I mean, they want the documentation, and I'm like, I ain't gonna be able to get all this stuff. So I mean, I just put it back up in my paperwork and put it back in my locker and go on about my day. And then maybe like probably about 8 years later, I get this cellie. He's from San Antonio, kind of young kid, kind of smart. He asked me, he's like, have you ever filled out a clemency petition? I'm like, I said, no. I said, but you know what? I said, I got an application in my paperwork. He said, man, you need to fill it out. He said, you need to take your time and fill it out and see what you can get. He said, you already got a life sentence. The only thing they can do is tell you no. So, I mean, again, I'm just words going in one ear and out the other. Okay, so time goes on and 2012 comes around. I wasn't a saint in prison. I got a couple of write-ups. I went to the SHU for having intoxicants, which is hooch, right? I went to the SHU. I got out, and I'm like, they put me in a 3-man cell, and one of the guys in the 3-man cell, he's a lawyer, inside lawyer, a prison lawyer. So I told him, I was like, hey man, I said, I said, I'm gonna write some stuff down. I said, I was just wondering if you could like help me put it together. He's like, yeah. He said, I can help you put it together. So I wrote down a little bit about myself, what I went through, stuff like that. And he came behind me, and after I did it, he looked at it and he wrote his stuff down. So I said, all right. So I do my application. It's probably like about 15 pages long. Matter of fact, I think I got it. Let me get it right quick. I think I got it in here. No, that's not mine. That's somebody else's. But yeah, it was like 15 pages long. Mm-hmm. It wasn't. I mean, I wrote down and did all the questions that they asked me, and I sent it in. 2 months later, some case law comes out, and I'm wanting to file under that case law. But what I'm hearing at the time is if you file your clemency petition and then file something to the courts, that it voids your clemency petition, because if you have your clemency petition in first and then file something to the courts, it voids whatever you sent in first. So I wrote a letter to the pardons department, and I asked them, what's the status on my clemency petition? They never responded. So I called my mom and I asked my mom, I was like, hey mom, I said, and I explained the situation. So she writes a letter. She gets a response 2 months later, telling her that my application is in, that they do have my application, and that they will notify me if any changes happen. I'm like, and she sent me a copy of the letter, so I'm like, well, at least I know that they got it and they're looking at it. So I mean, I don't really like.
What year? Real?
Huh?
When was that? How long ago?
That was, I filed it in June, July, August, like in September of 2012. That's when my mom got a response back on it. So time goes on and still I don't hear nothing. So 2013 in November, I hear my co-defendant, Jason Hernandez, I hear he received clemency. And he's coming out in Time magazine and all kinds of stuff. So I'm like, man, I said, this dude got clemency. And I mean, everybody hears about it. This is the first time anybody has received clemency from Obama, you know? So
where was
who?
Where was Jesse confined?
Jason, he was confined in El Reno at the time. He was in El Reno, Oklahoma at the time when he received clemency. And
he was serving life too?
Yes, he was serving a life sentence as well. He was one of the first ones, I mean, the first groups that Obama commuted was a group of 8 in the first group and a group of 8 in the second group, and 12 pardons in each group. So he was one of the first ones who received it. So after everybody's hearing the story about my co-defendant receiving clemency, they're like, there's no way that you can't receive clemency. If he received clemency, you should be able to get it as well. I said, man, I understand what you're saying. I said, but I don't think it works like that. I understand it works like that in like your case, but this is something totally different. This is like, they look at each application. So if his made it and they look at mine and mine don't make it, I mean, I hope they do. I hope I do get clemency. I said, but I'm not going to sit here and really just think that that's what's going to happen. So, because I don't want to, I've been, everything I filed in my time of being locked up, I was always shot down and told no, always. So me getting my hopes up every time that I sent in something taught me to not get my hopes up. So I didn't get my hopes up this time. But in November 17, 2014, I used to work commissary. I worked commissary for like 12 years. And we had just got finished passing out the Christmas bags through the commissary windows. Everybody goes back to their units. And I'm fixing I got my little homeboy and I tell him, because we was playing spades, and I told my little homeboy, I was like, come on, I said, you ready to play some spades? He's like, yeah. So I was like, let me check my email first. So I go upstairs and I make a cup of coffee. I come downstairs, I'm fixing to check my email. And the CO comes out of his office and he yells my last name, Torres. He said, they want you in the warden's office. And my little homeboy standing right there by me while I'm checking my email. And I just look up at the CO and I get stuck. And my little homeboy's like, what you do? What you do? You get in trouble? What you do? I'm like, man, I didn't do nothing. And then after that, I'm just looking up at the CO and my homeboy's like, well, you better go to the warden's office, see what they want. And I don't even hear him. I'm stuck. So finally he pushes me, and that's when I look at him, I'm like, what's up? He's like, man, you need to go to the warden's office and see what they want. And I just shake my head. I'm like, man. I said, the only thing it can be, I said, is my clemency petition.
That's awesome.
Yeah, he's like, man, you better hurry up and go. He followed me outside. The CO didn't let him walk with me to the warden's office, but he let him stay outside in the front because the CO was outside in the front. The CO already knew what it was. A lot of COs did. I mean, a lot of COs respected me because of the way that I carried myself, and they never really bothered me. So I think that's why the CO let him stand outside in front and wait for me to come back. But that was the longest. And the warden's office wasn't that far, but I mean, with all the stuff going through my mind, me walking to the warden's office was like the longest walk ever. I walked down to the warden's office, and it's like every half a step that I took, 1,000 things is going through my mind. So finally, I get in front of the warden's office. I look up at the sign, and I take a deep breath, and I knock on the door, and I kind of open it up.
Was that the first time in the warden's office?
Yeah, that was the first time I've been there. So I get there, and I open up the door, and the psychologist is in there. Her name is Miss I forgot her name already, but she was in there. Her and the AW was because the warden had already retired, so the AW had took his place. He was in the warden's office in the chair. So the lady tells me to come in. She's like, come in. She says, the warden wants to talk to you. And she showed me the way. I mean, it was just right there. She showed me the way where the door was at. So I go in there and I'm standing up, and I see a piece of paper on his desk. And I'm trying to look at the paper, right? He got the piece of paper on his desk, which is this paper here. It says, I hereby certify that the attached document is a true and accurate copy of the warrant signed by President Obama on December 17, 2014, granting executive clemency to Israel Torres. And it has my number. And it has the pardon attorney's signature, Deborah Leff, and this is the seal. It's the actual seal. This
President of the United States.
Huh?
That's the President of the United States seal right there?
Yeah. Wow. That's the seal right there. This is they gave me a copy of this one. I should have got the original copy with the seal as well, but this is just saying the same thing, and everybody else at the same time that received clemency as me has their names on here. It has Obama's signature. This is a paper that was sitting on his desk.
Hold up, Obama's signature. There it is, man. The President of the United States.
Yeah. This is the paper that he had on his desk. So I'm over there trying to look at the paper to see what it says, and he tells me to have a seat. So I'm like, okay. So I sit down. I'm sitting there, and I'm like, I'm already knowing what it is now, you know? So I'm just waiting for him to tell me either yes or no. And he said, do you know why you're here? I said, no, I don't. He said, is there any kind of paperwork that you filed in the past or anything? And then he changed the subject. He's like, have we ever talked? Have we ever met? I said, I've never talked to this AW a day in my life since he was there. I talked to the warden. I asked the warden if it was possible for me to get character letters to write on my behalf for my clemency. And the warden says, he said, I don't mind. He said, as long as they just don't put that you're an awesome, outstanding person, as long as they just tell the truth and what kind of person that you are, and like show your work ethic, your school and your education that you completed in here. He said that's what they need to do. I said, okay. So that warden retired, and this warden is the one that was taking his place. And he's like, have we talked before? And I was like, I don't think so. He's like, yeah. He said, I think we did. I said, if we have, I said, the only thing that I probably asked you is if it was okay for your staff to write me a character letter, a support letter on my behalf for my clemency. He's like, oh yeah. He said, that's what it was. He said, where, Mr. Torres? He said, we got this letter today. And he said, you was granted clemency.
Wow.
Man, I started crying.
I bet you did.
And still to this day, it's like, when I think about it, it's like, man, I thank the man above every day for the blessing that I received, and Obama as well, because, I mean, throwing for the man above to put in Obama's heart to look at my petition, I'd still be in there. Now I'm out here being a productive citizen. I got a job the first week after I got out the halfway house. I got a job. I've been there ever since. I work at a cabinet company. I started off in the mill. Now I'm on an install crew, and we go to these big houses and install these expensive cabinets. And after they're done, they look beautiful, man. We've done Tony Romo's house. We've done like mayor's houses, all kinds of people's houses, man. I mean, it's a good job, and I work a lot of overtime, even on Saturdays. Sometimes we work on Saturday. I'm off this week for vacation, so I mean, it feels good just to be able to sit back and relax instead of having to pick up these big old heavy cabinets and take them upstairs sometimes and unload them from the trailer or whatever. I mean, but it's a good job. I like my boss. He's very understanding. He knows my situation. He's a good person to work for, and I really enjoy it.
How long from the time that you had that warden speak to you did you leave prison and go to the halfway house?
Okay, I stayed in the actual prison where I was at for another week. On the 24th of December, they was trying to do everything that they could to hurry up and get me across the street to the camp. So I was at the camp for March till March 18th. From December 24th till March 18th is when I left the camp and I went to the halfway house. I stayed at the halfway house for 28 days. I stayed at the halfway house. And at the time at the halfway house, I was going out looking for a job. But, I mean, I really, not that I didn't want to find a job, but I already knew that I just needed to get out and be able to go and come as I please to be able to really actually find a job. I mean, because I had a little money saved up when I was in prison. So, I mean, I wasn't like really in too much of a hurry to like find a job. Plus, I had good family support. That's something that that if people have a good family support team, I mean, I'm not saying that they won't be successful if they don't, but having a good family support, or even any kind of support system out here is good. And I don't want for people to feel like if they don't have a support system, to don't feel like they can't be successful, because you can. You just can't never give up.
And you left behind somebody that's close to you, and I know that you got your shirt on. Tell us a little bit about who you left behind.
Yeah, I got well, this is the president right here. This whole time I have this guy right here. He got he's the one who has like 3 years left.
Okay.
He got 3 years left. And I have another co-defendant. His name is Michael Holmes. He got to life sentence. That's who we're really like. I I mean, this guy, I wish he would come home yesterday, a long time ago, but he got a release date. You know what I'm saying? So to help my other co-defendant, Michael Holmes, that's who we're really trying to help right now. Come home, because I mean, I can only imagine what he's thinking and feeling right now with Obama's time fixing to be up in presidency. He's probably like, what about me? And you know, I mean, and when I met you in Washington, that's one of my main reasons why I went. Not just for them, but to try to get their names out there and seen, because nobody else is doing nothing for them, and that's something that I want. I mean, I'm not gonna forget about them. You know, they're family to me. We all stuck together in the time that everybody else was telling or whatever. We all went to trial, so they're family to me. They're my brothers, you know, and they're always gonna be family to me till the end of time. So I'm not gonna forget about them. I'm always gonna try to do anything that I can in my power to help them get out. So
you and I are brothers in that same calling, Israel. That's one of the reasons behind Earning Freedom, is I'm always trying to bring more attention to all those people we left behind in prison and doing the best that we can to bring more people home. And I know that you've done a lot just by telling your story here. You're inspiring guys inside. And I want to let more people know through Earning Freedom why we need to have laws changed and reform to sentences and reform to the prison system, so more people can be just like Israel, coming back to society strong with their dignity intact, contributing to society and living as they should be. Right. So I'm really glad that you told your story. We kind of came to the end of the episode. Do you let us know some final things that you want to share with our audience, Israel?
Okay. That's another thing that I felt. I mean, me coming out here, being back into society, I know the spotlight's probably on all of us that receive clemency. So me coming back out here and trying to pave the road for everybody else is something that I'm entitled to do, because I don't want to be the one to mess it up for everybody else that's trying to attain the same thing that I obtained. I mean, I obtained this freedom, and for me to continue to be that, not the poster child, but to continue to be that role model for other people, so they can have that chance for them to be able to come back into society and join their families and enjoy holidays with their families, their kids. I left my kids when they was 6 years old and 2 years old. I mean, they're happy I'm home. My oldest son, he got locked up and he's still in prison right now, but he's happy I'm home, and he's ready to come home. He's ready to be with me. And all I can say really is just don't ever give up hope, and don't ever give up fighting, man. That's hope and faith, and don't ever think that you can't do it, because you can. Anybody can. Even when you're at your lowest, don't ever feel like it's over with, because it ain't never over with. The only way it's going to be over with is if you let it be over with. So, I mean, if you ain't got nothing forward to look to when you get out, I mean, you're still alive for a reason. So, the man above has you alive for a reason. You could probably make a difference in somebody's life with your story. So, just don't ever give up. Just keep on going.
God bless. Thank you so much, Israel, for sharing your story with our audience. I'm really grateful. I've always wanted to help more people inside hear stories of people who are serving life sentences and had their terms commuted. I really think that you're absolutely right, that the reason that you got out was because of the way that you changed your adjustment, getting involved in programs, avoiding disciplinary problems, contributing to the lives of other people. And that's why you're a winner. And that's why I'm so glad that I got to hear this story. So Thank you very much. Be back soon. Okay. With another inspiring guest on Earning Freedom.
All right, brother. I love you, boy. Be careful, okay?